Welcome to part 2 of the Tribe Performance Ankle Series. What we're going to be looking at here is a bunch of exercises that can, 1, help bulletproof your ankles, making them healthy, strong, and able to withstand anything that you can throw at them. And 2, rehab your ankles if you've injured them and get them back to being healthy, strong, and bulletproof. Alright, the first exercise we're going to go through is alphabets. Now, you can see I'm sitting down on a chair, I've got my shoes off, they're down here beside me, and we're going to go through the alphabet. This is a great rehab exercise for getting motion and movement through as much degrees as possible that the ankle can go through. It's a great one that physios will give you and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to hold the leg out straight, sitting back in the chair. What I'm going to do is I am going to make the letters of the alphabet, hopefully you can see them, all capital letters with my ankle. D, E, F, G. So I'm going to draw those, H, in as much detail as possible. K, L, M, N, O, P. You get the idea, yeah? You're going to go through the whole alphabet, change sides, and obviously continue on the other side. A, B. As you can see, the ankle goes through a lot of movement, and hopefully the more you practice, the easier it comes and the more range you can get. Alright, we're going to duck over now to the other side and we're going to look at the next exercise. Okay, here we are ready for the next exercise. And what this one is going to be the calf stretch. Okay, so we're going to do this with the help of an aid. So first of all, I've got the box. You can use anything that you can get your foot up on so that you can add more leverage to the stretch. So, as you can see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my foot on and I'm going to close the angle in my ankle as much as possible to be able to get through my Achilles and my calf. Okay? I'm going to then use an aid in the form of a weight and I'm going to place that on top. You can use anything that you can help add weight to. Okay, now I've got this and I'm resting on it. I'm trying to actually stretch through as much as possible and put as much weight down through my Achilles and my calf. I can work on raising the heel up a little bit to add more tension through my toes. That'll change little areas where the stretch goes. I can bring back and place that heel down. And I can rock through that. You can add as much weight as possible and hopefully you'll build up through weight. You can see I'm leaning on this as well, throwing more of my body weight into it. You know, I can use anything from 5, 10, 15 kilos up to as much as I can take. All right. Look to start with about 30 seconds each side. You want to be able to build up to be able to do 1, potentially even 2 minutes. That way we get a lot of tension through it, time under tension. That muscle and tendons can lengthen, relax, and give them time to release and let go. So that they understand that it is okay going into that length. All right, we'll take a look at the next one. Okay, we're going to come down into 2 separate stretches here. One I've actually sat in straight away. It's called the preacher. What we're going to do is be kneeling down. I'll turn sideways. As you can see, my feet are flat on the ground, my toes pointing away from me, and I'm just going to sit back on my heels. Now, this one might be very difficult to start with. What we're doing is a lot of the time with our ankles, we're always bringing our toes up towards our knee or our shin, you know, closing that angle, but we don't open that angle enough. So by this, I've actually lengthened that, and you may actually get cramps in your toes, the bottom of your feet, your shins, anything like that. This is a really good one that we've found For shin splints and things like that, if you can slowly progress to be able to sit in this position for a period of time, it greatly decreases your risk of shin splints. Now what we want to try to be able to aim to do, I'm a little bit off it at the moment, is we want to close our heels and try to have them as close as possible, okay? So I can get them as I'm here. You'll notice that as you sit back, they might go apart a bit. So what you want to do is try to keep them as close as possible. That makes it difficult, okay? The more we can do that, the better. Moving on to the next step. So sit in that position for as long as you can. Work your way up to, if you can sit here for comfortably for 2 minutes, that's a really good achievement. Now the next part is the preacher with the toes up. So as you can see, I've just placed my toes into the ground now, and then I'm gonna sit back as far as I can. Now we're actually stretching out the bottom of the feet and the tendons. Now there's actually fascia that runs through the bottom of our foot, and it runs all the way up the posterior chain of our body until we to attach to the base of the skull. So if we can actually work on making sure that the bottom of our feet are nice and loose and all that sort of thing, no knots or sore spots or anything in them, we can actually free up a lot of the body. So by doing this right now and pushing my toes in, I'm actually exposing part of a tendon and fascia that sits underneath the big toe to help with our big toe mobility as well. Now you wouldn't realise, but if one of the mobility in our big toe is affected, it can affect a lot of our body. The way we walk, the way we stride, run, that can change all our hip angles and all sorts of things. So it is a crucial area. So same thing as the one before, trying to sit in this position for as long as possible, hoping that you don't get any cramps. If you do, just sit out, wait for the cramp to go, and then try to sit back into the position. Okay, all right, we're gonna go into the next part, and it's also about the bottom of the foot. So let's get ready and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, here we are for the next part, and we're gonna be rolling out the bottom of our foot using all sorts of implements. As you can see, I've got the trusty hockey ball here in my hand. We can use one of them. Hopefully you've got one of them laying around all the time. I've got a peanut. It's actually got it's a sock with 2 massage balls inside it. You can use anything like that. I've got a little dumbbell, all sorts of different things to be able to show you guys that you can use any number of stuff. Your foam roller, all those sort of things that you can use to roll out the bottom of your foot and get that pain-free, really. So I'm just going to duck back here into shot. As you can see, I'm going to place all 3 things on the ground. Hopefully we get a bit of focus in the camera. There we go. Technical difficulties, as you can see. So what you can see, I'm just rolling backwards and forwards with my foot until I find a bit of a sore spot. When I do, I'll just probably give that a little bit more attention to make sure that I work through any soreness areas, you know, from heel all the way up to underneath the ball of your foot. You can sort of go and stretch out your toes as well with the weight. We'll go to the hockey ball. The hockey ball is quite a good one because you get a bit of a point of contact from the round surface. You can get sort of all in there underneath the arch of the foot to the middle. And then can also use the peanut. It's just a different shape than the ball. You know, it's 2 balls inside a sock, so you got a little bit of different angles and all that sort of stuff there. Now a key thing is, you would have heard me mention before, that there's underneath the ball of our foot, just sort of between that knuckle, there's a ligament and stuff there that can affect our big toe mobility. If I have my socks off here now, a good test is if you're standing there flat-footed, try to pull your big toe up as far as you can. What you'll notice is one might go a bit further than the other. It'd be pretty interesting to see, as hockey players, our right one, probably big toe's probably got a little bit more mobility in it than our left, because obviously we hold a hockey stick in our right hand. That's normally our back foot, and we go up onto that toe as we push and hit and all that, whereas our left foot is a lot flatter on the ground. So it'd be something interesting. Make sure you send me a message if you're the other way around, and let's see if we can collect a bit of data on that. That'd be something quite cool. But what you can do to help improve that is if I'm here, if I can pull back my big toe while I'm rolling, that'll expose that tendon. Hopefully scooch back here and get in shot. That'll expose that tendon underneath there. And then I can roll in and really release that. So as you can see, I'm down here manipulating, just making sure I can get in there. That's quite tender in there. So make sure you give that one a go. Don't be afraid to get down, work through that, but always look after the bottom of your feet. They are a forgotten area, and if we don't make sure that they're good, we can't make contact with the ground. That means we have trouble walking, running, doing anything, okay? Not just on the hockey field, but in everyday life. All right, give those a go. Don't forget to send me a message if you find that your left toe is a bit more mobile than your right. It's something interesting you can always find out about your body. Here we are with another stretch for the ankle series. So what we've got is I've got a step behind me and a wall. You can use any steps in your house, any elevated surface, something that you can, that is obviously elevated, that you can get your heels lower than, as I'll demonstrate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my toes, or the ball of my feet pretty much, on the edge of the step. I'll turn my back to you here for a second. Elevated on the edge of the step, and allow my heels to hang down below the height of my toes. What that does is lengthen the calf muscle. It's got all my body weight pretty much pushing down through my heels, which really lengthens the calf muscle through the Achilles, all through the back of the leg there. Also gets you a little bit of a stretch through the sole of the foot, making sure that that's nice and long and lengthened. What we want to do is we want to spend time in this. This is time under tension. The more we can spend in that position and allow that muscle to understand that it's okay to be there, the more that it's going to relax, lengthen, and we're going to get some great benefit out of that. Not only do we get the benefit of the stretch, we get the tendons and everything in the ankles strengthening and being put under that load so that they become stronger. Therefore, we reduce our chances of rolling ankles and everything like that. So give it a go. Start with a minute. Try to work up to 2 minutes, to even 3 minutes if possible, and then see how it is. All right, check it out.